Picture this. You're an aerospace engineer tracking a rocket. You literally need to calculate its exact speed at one specific, absolutely crucial millisecond. But to even get your starting number, you have to sit down and solve a massive, page-long algebraic equation. Frustrating, right?
You know exactly the pain I'm talking about. Trying to use that traditional limit definition to find a single derivative is just brutal. It's long, it's complex, and honestly, it's incredibly tedious. If you're sick and tired of doing it the long way, well, you're in exactly the right place. Because by the end of this explainer, you are going to completely master the basic differentiation rules. We're going to learn the exact formulas, understand why they work, and see how to apply them to instantly solve equations. We are officially tossing out the endless algebra and bringing in the ultimate shortcuts.
Just think about the difference here for a second. First, the old way, taking the limit as h approaches 0. Sure, it's a fantastic theoretical foundation, but practically, it's a total marathon. Now, on the flip side, we have differentiation rules. These are going to be your lightning-fast, direct shortcuts. Let's learn them. Okay, let's start with the absolute easiest rule to set our baseline. The constant rule. I want you to basically think of this as finding the derivative of, well, a parked car.
Formally speaking, the constant rule goes like this. If f of x equals c, where c is literally just any constant number, then the derivative f prime of x equals exactly 0.
Now let's connect this to real life. Why does this actually happen? Well, remember that a derivative is simply a measurement of a rate of change. Right? If a function is a constant, like say f of x equals 8, its value never ever changes. Just like a parked car isn't moving, its speed is 0. So its rate of change, the derivative, is absolutely 0. Okay, quick check to keep you on your toes. What's the derivative of g of x equals -3? Think about it for a second. It's 0. Because -3 is just a constant number, its rate of change is 0. Boom, done.
So now that we understand the basic idea, let's move on to the absolute workhorse of differentiation, the power rule. This is the crucial pattern that's going to save us from having to manually expand massive polynomial equations.
Here's the formal definition. For any positive integer n, if f of x equals x to the power of n, then f prime of x equals n times x to the power of n minus 1. Notice the pattern we've got going on here. The power drops down to become the coefficient in the front, and then the new power decreases by exactly 1.
Let's make this super easy with a step-by-step example. Step 1, start with the function f of x equals x cubed. Step 2, you take that exponent, the 3, and literally bring it down to the front so it acts as a multiplier. Step 3, subtract 1 from your original exponent. 3 minus 1 is 2. So our final result is simply 3x squared. Drop it down, subtract 1. That is the magic of the power rule. All right, time for another 60-second retention check. Try doing this one totally in your head. What is the derivative of x to the 10th power? Did you get it? You just drop the 10, subtract 1 from the exponent, and you get 10x to the 9th. Seriously, see how much faster that is than using a limit definition?
All right, let's take the next step. How do all these individual building blocks actually link together to solve full equations? We need to look at combining rules. We're talking sums, differences, and constant multiples.
The really great news here is that derivatives play incredibly nicely with basic arithmetic. The sum rule? It just means you find the individual derivatives and add them together. The difference rule? You just subtract them. And the constant multiple rule means if a function is multiplied by a constant number, you literally just multiply your derivative by that exact same number. Let's work through a capstone example step by step to show you just how powerful combining these rules can be. Let's say we have f of x equals 2x to the 5th power plus 7. First, we apply the sum rule to separate our two terms. Next, we use the power rule on the x to the 5th part, which gives us 5x to the 4th, and then we multiply that by our constant 2 to get 10x to the 4th. Finally, the constant rule turns that 7 into a 0. The final result? Instantly, 10x to the 4th. Okay, we're moving fast. But wait, halt everything. This next part is absolutely crucial. We have to talk about a trap, the product rule trap. Because when we start multiplying functions together, things get a little weird. And this is literally the most common calculus mistake students make. Now you might be asking a very logical student question right about now. Wait, why isn't the derivative of a product just the product of the derivatives? Honestly, it feels like it should be. But remember, rates of change interact dynamically. Think about it. If you multiply x by x, you get x squared. The derivatives of x and x are just 1, but the derivative of x squared is 2x, not 1 times 1. Because of that dynamic interaction, we have a very specific formula, the product rule. The derivative of f of x times g of x is the derivative of the first times the second plus the derivative of the second times the first, or f prime of x times g of x plus g prime of x times f of x.
Let's walk through this setup. If you have a real binomial product problem, say x squared plus 2 multiplied by 3x cubed minus 5x, you absolutely do not just multiply their derivatives. You find their individual derivatives, you cross-multiply them according to our formula, and then you add them together. It takes a tiny bit more organization on your paper, sure, but it anchors the abstract formula and works every single time.
Okay, let's connect all this abstract math to real-world geometry. Why does all this shortcut math actually matter? Let's look at a real application, finding the equation of a tangent line.
A tangent line barely touches a curve at one specific point, and its slope is the exact rate of change at that very split second. Let's find it for f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 6 exactly at x equals 1. First step, plug in 1 to get our coordinate point, which is 1, 3. Second step, use our new rules to instantly find the derivative, which is 2x minus 4. Now, plug our x value into that derivative, and we find our exact slope is negative 2. Put that point and slope together into the point-slope formula, and boom, we have our tangent line equation, y equals negative 2x plus 5.
Before we wrap up, let's summarize the key takeaways. You might want to pause and grab a screenshot of these rules as a study guide. We covered the constant rule, where flat lines become 0. We conquered the power rule, our main workhorse where you just drop the exponent and subtract 1. And we navigated the product rule, that dynamic, cross-multiplying formula for interacting functions. But I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Now that we know exactly how to handle functions that are added, subtracted, and multiplied, what in the world happens when we need to divide them? What if one function is stacked directly on top of another? Well, that requires something called the quotient rule, and that is exactly what we are going to tackle in our next explainer. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll see you next time.